Liam Neeson, Action Dad. You're watching Beyond the Trailers review of Nonstop.
The FBI, the White House, and Interpol are confirming reports that an international flight has been hijacked by an air marshal.
Agent Marks, our fighter escort has you in their sight. Do you hear me?
We're running out of time. Do you hear me? Alliance, hijacking this plane. I'm trying to save it.
Okay, sure, technically he doesn't have any kids in this movie that we see on screen. But still, thanks to his breakout hit Taken back in 2008, Liam Neeson has reinvented himself as a new kind of action hero. A man who seems like your typical stand-up citizen on the outside, but on the inside, he can kick ass. In a way, he's fulfilling the fantasy that so many of us have of being an action hero, even though we don't look like one. Underestimate us at your peril. And since Taken, Neeson has been pumping out a steady stream of these movies that all have a high rate of financial return, thanks to low budgets and international appeal. And the director of one of those movies, Unknown, returns here for Nonstop. In fact, Jaume Collet-Serra and Neeson have another film coming out this year, Run All Night, which co-stars RoboCop's Joel Kinnaman as, wait for it, his son. But back to this movie. The trailer has teased Julianne Moore and Lady Mary Crawley as major players, but this thriller has a few more impressive names up its sleeve. Oscar nominee Lupita Nyong'o co-stars, as do other up-and-coming actors Corey Stoll, Nate Parker, and Scoot McNairy. Sorry, Anson Mount fans, but I think that ship might have sailed. It's also worth noting that Nonstop is co-produced by prolific Hollywood producer Joel Silver and France's Studio Canal. Yes, with Neeson's movies making so much money in Europe, Taken was an actual French film, you'll see efforts to appeal to the European audience on screen here. So we know this is a Liam Neeson picture. Question is if it's one of the good ones or the bad ones.
Wow! This is the closest I've seen a movie get to Die Hard. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time with a smile on my face. And I went with my dad, who's a huge Liam Neeson fan, and he was literally jumping up and down in his seat. And during like one of the big climactic points in the film, he turned to me and he was like, "Grace, this is such a good movie." And I totally agreed with him. And not just because of Liam Neeson, who delivered. I think this is actually one of Liam Neeson's best films. But the reason this movie was so good was that everyone delivered, in front of and behind the camera, which unfortunately is very rare in Hollywood these days. This is just, I dare say, a perfect, tight little action thriller. And I'm upset that some critics, I think, are being very unfair toward it. And they're going, oh, this movie wishes it was Hitchcockian. But I think it is Hitchcockian. I think the only thing missing is Hitchcock's trademark glamour. But that's just what's missing if you wanted to say it was pure Hitchcock. I don't think that's missing from the movie at all. As I said, I dare say it's pretty much a perfect movie. I was really impressed. Now, as you know, script is very important to me, and I just was talking yesterday in my Godzilla Trailer 2 review about how I was worried about that script seemed to be falling apart. This is a great example of a script that's very well done, very well executed. It has a number of twists and turns, but it never goes off the rails, and that's hard to do. Even when you got answers and you thought back, it still all clicked into place perfectly. And thrillers are hard, mysteries are hard to write because of that. You don't want your story to fall apart, and this one never did. It also kept me guessing as to who was the hijacker. And even when it was revealed, it was a genuine surprise. I suspected everyone on that airplane, which is not only thanks to the script, but I think also the performances. The actors playing the passengers did a phenomenal job of making you doubt them, just as Liam Neeson was, which really made you put you in his shoes. You were just as confused as he was. For instance, Source Code is, a very good movie. But within the first 5 to 10 minutes, I guessed who the bomber was. And then within the first, I'd say, 20 to 30 minutes of the film, I was able to guess what was going on with Jake Gyllenhaal's character. So in those scenarios, you were just waiting for the movie to catch up with you. But here, this movie was leading me around, and I was having a great time. I was like, who is it, Liam Neeson? I don't know either. And as I said, that's really not only to the script, but also the actors. They did a really phenomenal job. And I think Julianne Moore in particular did a really nice job. And I think it's so wonderful that you have a 61-year-old star, the lead, Liam Neeson, who's a wonderful action hero, really does a great job at the top of his game. And then you have Julianne Moore as his leading lady, 53, and she does a great job. And both of them looked phenomenal. They looked great. And they were ageless characters. Even though they were 61 and 53, that wasn't part of the story. It wasn't brought up. They were just people. And I like this agelessness. I hope that not only does Liam Neeson contribute great movies to Hollywood, but I hope that he's starting to move towards this more agelessness where, you know, of course we all just want to see characters exist as, you know, people and not be defined by their race or gender, but also their age. And so that's very exciting. Helen Mirren can't do it all. She needs some backup. And so it's nice to see Liam Neeson and Julianne Moore stepping in there. And you could have cast this film with younger actors and it would have been the same, you know, it wouldn't have affected the story. But I like the choices they made quite a bit. And these actors did a great job. I also want to give a shout out to the director. I thought that he worked very well in a small space, very inventive camera work, some genuine surprises, you know, not telegraphing shots or plot points, and really, as I said, inventive camera work. There were some camera movements that I was like, how did they pull that off? It looked great. Now, another great thing about the movie, besides the script and the performances and the directing, or I guess that's an aspect of it, was it really captured what it was like to take a flight. They captured that atmosphere perfectly, from the surroundings to also the personal dynamics with the passengers, with the flight attendants. Everything was really well done. Oh, and you know, Lady Mary Crawley also did a very nice job with her, Michelle Dockery, I believe. She was very good. Corey Stoll, again, everybody. I could just keep going on in the list of everybody who did a great job contributing to this film. And also, as I said, behind the camera, the screenwriter, the cinematographer, the director, the set design looked great. You know, they raised the roof of the plane so that Liam Neeson could walk around in it comfortably because he's so tall, but you never thought, oh, that plane looks freakishly tall. You're like, oh, it's an international flight. It's just very, very well done, and I just really was impressed. And I really highly recommend you go and see it. And when I went to go to see this movie, we took a taxi. It's freezing here in New York. And while we were there, we were talking about the movie on our way, and the driver asked, well, what movie are you going to see? And I said Nonstop. And he said, oh, I'm a big Liam Neeson fan, but I'm nervous about seeing the movie because I'm a nervous flyer, so I might skip it. And I'm a nervous flyer, too. I think we're all nervous flyers these days. But I have to say, the movie kind of utilized that, and I still had a great time. So I really hope that you'll take a chance on this movie. As I said, the critics have really handicapped it, I think, unfairly. It's a great film. If you're a Liam Neeson fan, you'll like it. If you're an action fan, you'll like it. If you're a fan of mysteries, you'll like it. It's just so well done, and it was so refreshing to see that. And as I said, I was watching this movie, and I just couldn't believe how good it was. It was just a real treat, and I'm just so happy, and I hope it does really well. It deserves to. If movies like this don't do well, Hollywood won't understand the importance of quality across the board. So check it out, and maybe you don't agree with me. Maybe you saw the film and you agree with the other critics who feel it's lacking. If so, what don't you agree with me about? Where do you feel the film was lacking? So that's my review. Thanks for tuning in. I really do recommend you go and check out this film. It's really well done, and you can check out some more episodes right now.